To the vlog channel. So today we wanted to kind of do a Q&A because I feel like me and Bryan are, I mean, we're like open with everything that we went through, but we're not like super,
we haven't done like a sit down and talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're very, very open. I mean, we talk about our son like all the time, but I thought it would be, you know, better to just kind of do like a Q&A with you guys. There is parents that follow us that have gone through literally the same thing that we went through. As open as we try to be, we're not that open, you know, like we don't just sit down and talk to the camera and tell you guys how we feel. So I'm like, you know what, let's just do a Q&A. You guys ask us questions and we kind of just like sit here and answer them, obviously. Let's just get started. Everybody's asking, when do you think you will be ready to give baby Bryan a little brother? A little brother? Or a little sister. Why did they put brother? That's funny. I think they mean like sibling.
Yeah.
We've been trying. We took a while to get pregnant with Bryancito. So I feel like, you know, I don't know what we were thinking. Honestly, I thought I was gonna be like more fertile because especially after I had him, well, I was told not to start trying right away because I had a C-section. So I had to wait, and then once I was given like the okay to start trying, like it hasn't happened. Here I am, still not pregnant. So it's a lot more easier to say like, oh, you know, why don't you guys start trying again? For us, that's like the way that we see ourselves, because you know, when you get pregnant, like for us, like right when I got pregnant with Bryancito, like I just knew that he was like our purpose. Like something about like having a child, like everything that you do is for them, right? Like he literally gave us purpose in life, right? And when something like that is like yanked away from you, like stolen from you, you're almost like, well, what's our purpose now if he was our purpose? More than anyone we know, and if you've lost your child, you know that your child is never going to be replaced. Whether you have 5, 10 kids, your baby's still not with you, you know, like it's not going to change anything. Having another child is probably like the only thing that I think would like keep us kind of on our toes and stuff, because we struggle a lot right now with even caring about like what's next and what we're doing. And I know people are, you know, that haven't experienced it, it's so easy for someone to say like, get over it, it happened already. You really have to live it, and if you lived it, you wouldn't be saying that, you know. It's something that we're gonna deal with for the rest of our life. I don't even know where I'm going. What was the question?
It's not as easy as just like trying again, especially from what we went through, like, and please God, like no like other issues come up throughout that pregnancy too, or that also has to add up time to like see if everything will be fine in our next pregnancy, okay? So
it's the whole, like a whole other fear that comes with it, but we are like desperate. And I had this realization not that long ago. I was like very, you know, just seeing like the negative pregnancy back to back. I had a moment where I just like had a meltdown, and I had a meltdown, and I was just like, I'm so desperately trying to get pregnant because this is the thing, when you have a child, like the love you have for this child, oh my God, uncomparable to anything else, uncomparable. We're so desperate trying to have another child to be able to feel that love again, that we're not allowing ourselves to like heal. And I don't think we'll ever fully be healed, but no. I don't think we were giving, I just think we were so desperate, and we still are, obviously, because like I can't imagine us not having any more kids. I think I would lose my mind. But that's the realization that I had to have with myself, where I'm like, even if I have another kid, like that void in our hearts are still gonna be there. That's that. Someone said, I've always thought if I lost a baby, I would adopt in honor of a baby in heaven, of my baby in heaven. Would you adopt?
I personally never would like think as me like adopting someone. Like I wouldn't have an issue with adopting someone, but I just like to replace my child, or to like how they're saying to honor my child, like no, because I feel it just wouldn't be the same. It's not like when you lose a dog and like, okay, let's just go buy another dog before the kids notice or something like that. I feel I do other things in honor of my child rather than just try to replace them with adopting someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's easier said than done. This person is saying I've always thought if I lost a baby, like she hasn't been in that position.
Yeah.
When our baby passed away, it was weird. You're kind of like desesperada. You're thinking like, okay, my baby's gone. Like, what can I do? We were in that desperate mode where we didn't know what to do. I think at some point, like I had told Bryan, I was like, should we like adopt? You know, this is something that we planned for so long, and we immediately just knew that it was just something that like came from like those emotions in the moment. But adoption is not something that you just do because your baby passed away. That's something that you have to be mentally prepared for. Adoption is very, very serious. Does it trigger you, or does it make you a bit sad on seeing other kids, babies in general?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even as close as for being relatives, like my nieces and nephews and all that, it is a trigger. But at the same time, doesn't mean I'm gonna hate them or something like that.
I think for me, like the hardest part was because I was like pregnant with other women. I think to me, it's not my nieces and nephews. It's not like when I'm taking care of Mia or Chubbs or Tina, like I don't get triggered with them. For me, it's more triggering women that I was like pregnant with. Women that, you know, we were literally probably just weeks apart, or, you know, people that you were just pregnant with in general. And I don't hold anything against those innocent babies, because obviously, you know, I try to think of it, if I had my healthy baby, if I didn't go into premature labor, if everything went smooth and I had him with me, it would make me really sad if somebody was wishing bad on me because their baby passed away, you know, like these babies don't deserve this.
Well, that's right, like it's a trigger to like being sad and all that, but not a trigger like, oh, I hate you, or oh no, like
no, I'm not saying that for you. I'm just saying in general for me, like I try to think of it, I'm like, okay, if I did have a healthy baby and I knew somebody that had lost their baby, I would be very upset that, you know, they'd be wishing that on my innocent child. That's just kind of how I try to look at it, but it's very triggering on a daily. And again, nothing against those babies, but it's just like a constant reminder of my baby, his milestones, where he'd be, and it's just hard. And even now, NICU things are triggering because I'm like, well, a lot of people have positive outcomes, you know
what I feel is like the only really bad trigger for me is when I see other things, like even earlier, like on TikTok or something, I'm like mothers or fathers literally neglecting their child. And I'm just like, how is it that we, like, God couldn't give us a child, but yet, like I was seeing this TikTok earlier about like this kid and like a little baby locked in a car of like 100 degrees because the parents went into a liquor to grab something. Like, how? It is just that, like, for sure, that is like a really bad trigger for me. Like I just kind of lose myself for a cool little minute.
Well, earlier how I saw that TikTok of that lady, a lady that obviously, you know, did some horrible things to her children, and that really pissed me off. I was telling Bryan, I'm like, I just don't understand like how some people are blessed with children. I don't understand. Like, I just don't understand. And it really pissed me off that there are people out there literally taking their kids' life. And here, you know, we have so many women that would love their children so much, show them so much love, and like shit like this happens. Like, I truly, you know, I am a strong believer in God, but those are the kind of things I just have a lot of questions.
God always has a reason for something, you know, like, or everything that happens. But as much as hard as that's, well, that's what I'm saying, me neither. But like in the back of my head, I just kind of know that's how it is. Have you considered a reborn baby doll for therapeutic reasons? I don't. I know you kind of do. But what's funny, Karina, she gifted us like a little bear that weighed exactly like him, and she like handmade him and everything. So I actually treasure that more than if we would have got like a reborn baby or rebirth baby. What is it called? I think they're reborn baby dolls. Yeah. So yeah, like I feel like I treasure that more than if we would have get something like that. I feel like if you guys don't really know what they are, they literally will make them look just like your baby. Yeah. Same features, they look real. I always had like an obsession with babies. Yeah.
I took parenting skills.
Twice,
I took
Oh.
first time I took child development to be able to have those fake babies. Not that they're not reborn babies, but they were like babies that would cry, and you would change them, you would take it home.
Like, you guys ever in high school, like they gave you like a little bracelet,
yeah,
and like you have to like scan it to like.
It had this car seat.
Yeah, everything.
I ended up getting one, and it ended up being a boy, which is so crazy. His name was Bryan, also Bryan Jr. I just always have been obsessed with babies. I always knew I wanted to be a mom. Like, I just know like that's what I'm meant for. I ended up taking parenting skills because I wanted to also like again have another little fake baby, and I sure did, and I think it was also again a boy. But I have looked into reborn dolls. Reborn dolls are different from what you would get at school. Obviously they make these babies to look exactly like your baby if you wanted to. Same features, same weight, I mean everything. Like, it could look so realistic, and I considered it because I'm still, I mean, we all grieve differently. I think for me, I'm like, I want to feel like I'm carrying my child, and I do think I would get judged. I feel like I've seen it on YouTube, like they get judged a lot, but that's how I think I would feel better, like just seeing something of him, like a doll that looks like him. I haven't got anything besides the thing that Karina gifted us. It's like a little bear, but I would love to. I mean, what am I gonna lose? What am I gonna lose by doing that? How are you dealing with grief? I lost my mom and need advice. I think every loss is different.
Honestly, I would say therapy helps out a lot. Talking with family, venting helps, you know.
Learning how to honor them. Not learning. I don't think I worded that right. I think, learning what helps you, like, honor them.
Yeah. Because every grief is different, every loss is different, you know.
I feel like I have to just have like a good cry. I have my good cries. I think this past week I've been crying every single night. It's so weird because grief is like a roller coaster. You can't expect to, how do I say it? It's like, it's unexpected. Every day is unexpected. Like, tomorrow I can't tell you if I'm gonna be sad, if I'm gonna be happy. Like, grief is so crazy, and I think some people think like, oh, they're so strong, they got it together, they're back to posting vlogs, and they're doing this and that, and it's like, nobody sees like behind the camera, you know? Grief it's something so horrible, and I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a roller coaster, and I can't even tell you what helps me because I don't know what helps me. I think people think that we're so positive and we're so brave, and I'm like, I'm breaking down every single night. I truly hate my life.
Adding to that, not to be sexist, but most men are very closed up. They don't want to talk about, and trust me, it helps so much. So if anybody's out there like that knows a man like that's probably dealing with such a thing, they need to open up.
And me and Bryan talk about him all the time. All the time, and then luckily like we're very supportive with each other. If I'm having my meltdown, he'll tell me, you know, hey, he doesn't want to see you sad, or like, you know, oh god, I'm really trying not to cry in this video. I don't care. That's the thing, babe, I'm so over crying. Like, I feel like I cry every single day, so right now I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to like to film a video. Are you gonna go to a doctor to try and conceive?
Like the, what is it called?
High risk doctor?
No. Where they like implant it or whatever. I think that's what they're talking about.
Oh, IVF?
Yeah.
We're not considering doing an IVF anytime soon, if that's what you guys mean. We have seen a high-risk doctor. It was actually Karina's doctor, and he kind of just, he was the one that gave me the okay when to start trying, but he kind of just told me, you know, obviously when you're ready, or not when you're ready, he gave me a certain time where I could start trying. He told me when you get pregnant, you know, we'll immediately start treatment. So we're trying to get pregnant naturally. We got pregnant naturally with Bryan too. So I'm like, okay, I have that hope. That's one thing that I do thank God about. I'm like, okay,
well,
I'm able to get pregnant.
IVF is like actually issues if you can't get pregnant. So like they like implant it, right?
Yeah, something like that. If I don't get pregnant and say Bryancito was a miracle and like I can't get pregnant after this, absolutely would consider IVF. But we saw Karina's high-risk doctor, and he's gonna be my doctor, and we're just waiting for the day that we do get pregnant, because he's an amazing doctor. He actually told me I was very, very high risk, obviously, for what I went through, and I think he's gonna go through like my medical records just to really get an idea of what happened. And I really trust him. I really do trust him. He's an amazing doctor, so I'm I'm so like, I just want to get pregnant already and just like start this journey, you know? How is Bryan coping with everything? I feel like we only hear from you. And yeah, it's true, because I feel like for the most part, I'm the one like always vlogging. And
well, this is why earlier I was saying, you know, most men, not to be sexist, we're closed up on a lot of issues or anything like that. So it's good for us to open up. Even on my video that I made on my channel, like I talked about like talking to a therapist and all that, and all that helps. As much as even earlier they're asking like, what advice do you have? Like, my advice is go see a professional, because as much as family or friends might have some sort of experiences or whatever, like a professional would more likely be able to help you out, because every situation is different. So you might not relate exactly to a relative or a friend as much as like a professional might be able to help you out. And at the same time, probably like talking to other parents that deal with exactly the same way, like a loss or something.
Yeah, I think talking to people that have gone through similar situations, like you really understand each other, you know, every emotion that I'm feeling right now. He's gotten therapy. I still haven't. Like, I think I was gonna start it, but like I never did it. So I can't say it's helped, because I just never did it. What advice would you give a grieving couple?
Well, kind of like how we just kind of said right now.
Support each other. Yeah, and just talking about your baby, huh? Like, we talk about him so much. We'll literally be like, oh, he's over here doing this and he's over here doing that. Like, we talk about him so much, and I feel like as a couple, it is your job to keep your child's memory alive. No one is gonna talk about your child like you do. That's one thing that I can proudly say, that we're such amazing parents for always just like keeping him alive. If there's something that you can do in memory of them that helps you, like for us, like how he has his little living room, and that gets me excited, because I'm like, oh my god, babe, for fall and for Christmas, like I'm gonna go all out in there, because I know he's gonna love it, and he's gonna invite his little friends over, and he's, you know, that's like the one thing that keeps our spirits like alive, you know, have us laughing. I'm like, oh, Bryancito's doing this, he's being like tremendo doing that, or, you know, we literally created a little character out of him. I know y'all get a million questions. From the bottom of my heart, I ask, how are you? Yeah, like you guys, you know, heard, it's something really hard. I try not to be so negative. It's okay to not be okay, you know? That's honestly the truth. We're not gonna be here saying, you know what, life is perfect, we've dealt with it and now we're moving on, or something like no, it's not. This is our life. It sucks that this happened, you know, but there's no like going back to our old life or anything like that, or getting over it. It's just part of our life. It's something, I literally was having this conversation with Bryan, because I had like the most, oh man, I had the most beautiful dream. And I kind of told you guys on Instagram, I had this beautiful dream of like that he had came back to life. And when I tell you that everything, like every bit of grief, every bit of misery, everything that we just had gone through just didn't matter anymore. Everything was just like lifted off of us. It was the most beautiful dream ever. And I remember thinking like, oh my god, we're like one big happy family. And I woke up and I was sad, and I was telling Bryan, I'm like, the fact that this is just a dream, and like this is like never, like we're never gonna feel this, like, oh my god, like that drives me crazy. It's just so hard. I feel the night is the worst, because throughout the day you have a good amount of little distractions, whether we're doing something like editing or whatever it is, you know, like even hanging out with family or whatever it is. Like we constantly think about him, but at night you have zero distraction. Like everything just starts to sink in and it hits you like a ton of bricks. Yeah, it hits me the most at night. I feel like I usually wake up in a positive mood. I even say good morning to him and stuff. And at nighttime, especially like I go to sleep later than Bryan. When he's asleep, the dogs are asleep, everyone's asleep, I'm just like, oh. I mean, Bryan will wake up and I'm like over here crying like at 5 a.m. I replay like this, you know, kind of like the timeline of me finding out I'm pregnant and enjoying my pregnancy. And Bryancito was someone that like, even up to him being like a boy, like we would always talk about having a boy first. We had his name, I mean, we always talked about like our boy, his name's also gonna be Bryan. And we always, like my dad, even before we had kids, he'd be like, oh, Bryancito this. Like, it's just like so crazy how just everything happened. And like, I have a really hard time. I have a really hard time still accepting that this is like our life. It's nothing that we ever expected to live. It's just like so horrible. I need like a napkin. Will you ever be comfortable with sharing your full experience? I think like with everything him going in, like me going into labor? I don't think I would.
I don't think so. I feel the best way is like the same, even before this, like as much as we blog our daily life or anything like that, there's still a lot of things that we wouldn't put on the blog, especially going through this experience. It's gonna help to cope with other people or anything like that, but there's still a lot of things that holds like a personal spot to us.
I don't think I'll ever have the full courage to talk about like our entire experience in the NICU and how I went into labor or any of that. It's just so traumatic. Mayra, how are you strong each day that goes by? Like, I'm not strong at all. We always have people tell us like, I don't know how you guys do it. I wouldn't be able to. And I'm thinking like,
us neither.
How's your marriage with such a huge loss? I can't imagine the strain of stress you guys go through.
It's a lot. And what's crazy is when we were first going through this, the doctors and nurses, everyone was telling like, you know, for us to try to stay together and be with one another and cope with it together. Because sadly, when something like this happens, actually people do split. And me and Myra was just like, what? Like how? Like, it's crazy. But it happens. And luckily, you know, like we both cope with it together and are there for one another. As much as we sometimes just feel we're both losing our, you know, selves or whatever. Like when she's down, I have to bring her up, or when I'm down, she has to bring me up. It's a lot and it's hard.
I think for us, it has brought us so much closer. I think like even just in general, us having a child, like I have so much respect for Bryan. So much respect. I'm like,
no,
you.
And we talk about it like, oh my God, like that. The fact that he was made from both of us.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, for us to give him siblings one day, like knowing that it's still from both of us, that he has like brothers and sisters from both of us, you know, like
even when I'm like upset at Bryan and like I want to argue, I won't be angry for long because I'm like, that's Bryancito's dad. I'm being serious and you know that. I'll have my little moments and then later on I'm like, no, like I'm gonna respect you because you're my child's father. It has just brought us so much closer. It's actually insane. It's so crazy, huh? Like I think people were concerned of our marriage and I'm thinking like be concerned of our mental state, but as a relationship we've gotten super close.
And that's why I feel like when they were saying like, oh, people do split and all that, we're just like, what? Like, I don't know. It's
crazy. I could see maybe like if maybe you were not open to talking about it and you just got like aggressive and you just express yourself differently, then yeah, I could see me like being like, peace out. This is an interesting question. Why did you choose to bury your son and not cremate and keep him close to home? I've always talked about me like I wouldn't want to be cremated, so I didn't think it'd be fair for me to do that to my son when I wouldn't want to get cremated.
Yeah.
I mean, even Bryan, like he has said that he doesn't ever want to get cremated either, right?
No. How you're saying, if I felt like I never want to be cremated, so I would never want to cremate my son. And at the same time, it gives us like a special place to go see him and all that. How that person was saying like you could have your child everywhere you go. Like even right now, like if we weren't filming this, we would like say we're just in this room, we'd totally be saying like Bryancito's like right here with us, like on our laps or playing with Handsome and Coco kind of thing. So for us, we always feel he is always with us. No matter where we're going, he's always with us.
Always.
Yeah.
When we go visit him, we're not picturing like Bryancito in there. We're picturing like his body's in there, but Bryancito's like running around with his little friends. That's just like, I don't physically picture him there. And obviously if I could physically have him with us, amazing. That would be amazing. But to cremate, I think everybody has their own opinions with cremation or being buried. But for us, cremation wasn't an option. That's just like, we just didn't want to. This is a good question. How has your perspective in life changed?
Honestly, the easiest way to break it down, I'm not quoting it perfectly, but in the Bible it says like, if God giveth, God taketh, you know? As simple as it is, that's how it is. Like, you know, we cherish this life, or we don't actually cherish this life as much as we should. Say. Yeah, like God give us this life and we do so much things in this life, and yet sometimes we take it for granted, you know? As much as it hurts us, or at least this is how I think, as much as it would hurt me to like live that life over again, like him being born and passing, I would live it again because it was...
Yeah, I would like do it over again to just see him again. Oh my God. We love him so much, like that little baby, like if I could just like scream, you know, in a mountain and just say I love you, like that. and I know he's hearing me. It's like, oh man, it's so horrible. It's horrible, it's horrible, it's horrible. But I think like it's matured us a lot. That's like one thing that I feel like this whole thing like matured us on a whole different level. I noticed how fragile life is. I realized how fragile a pregnancy could be. I just see life differently. I see children just like little angels. They are so innocent. I think just having a child in general, like you see other children different. That just changes within itself. And then also like the negative part of the whole thing, it's like, you know, back then a lot of things would matter. You had certain goals. I think I'm still in a stage where I don't care. I'm still grieving. Like I'm not in any rush to do anything, you know? I'm just not on that like mental state like I was prior where I had goals. It changed completely like the way I think. We had to rearrange the camera because the SD card got a little full, y'all. But you know, hopefully we answered some of your questions. But yeah, that's kind of like what we're dealing with. I have a really hard time like showing my emotions. Like even like that's also why I think a lot of people think like you guys are so strong. Like when the camera's on, like I can't like express myself. Like I can't, have a hard time expressing myself. I was even telling Bryan, I'm like, I want to get kind of like a journal so I can write everything down to him, because I'm very open with like my family, with Bryan. I cry a lot. That's I know people say cry it out, let it out. I do. I cry every single day, but I just have a hard time like expressing everything. Any parent that's like watching this and has gone through this, you know, we got each other, girl. That's literally like, that's the one thing that I've created a lot of friendships with moms that have gone through similar things, and it's like, it sucks that you created that friendship for that reason. That's part of a group you never want to be in, you know? And we all equally will say that. Like, that's not something we want to like relate to. For people that don't like that we talk about our son so much, for people that say you need to get over it, for people that are like, that's not normal the way they're grieving. I mean, those are the kind of people that are so far from that reality, that are so ignorant. That's just the way I see it. I'm like, you're so ignorant. Like, you're not going through it, so you shouldn't have like any comment on it. That's how I see it. I feel like if you have not lost a child, you shouldn't have an opinion on it. If someone out there is watching that is just like sick of like the baby talk, is sick of it all, well, you just, you know, unsubscribe. Like, this is just our life. I'm not gonna change and pretend that nothing is wrong with us, that nothing happened to our baby just to please people. Like, that's just not it, you know? It has changed us completely. So you guys, yes, you guys are gonna see it in the videos that we have changed. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all the support, and we'll see you guys in a more uplifting, positive vlog. Bye.
This is y'all.